Hey, welcome everybody. First, let me apologize. Normally here on Monday, here on Thursday, I'm actually sitting at Hickson's football facility covering the junior high game. Phil's at the local fair in his hometown, but we're going to try and knock out just a little bit of a show. What's up, Phil?
Not much. Bennett, Cab County Fair, and of course, it's the eve before football.
Remote. Yeah, it does. It feels different on Thursday. I've actually took the day off tomorrow. We are traveling over to Fayetteville, which is over in Middle Tennessee. We're leaving at 3 o'clock. It's an all-day fair for us this week. We're gonna leave at 3, get over there, broadcast, and come back home. I told Annalise she might see Dad about 2 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, I know how that is. I get home about 1:15 to 1:30 every Saturday morning, so I know exactly how you feel.
Yeah, I didn't want to make that where are they at? Where are they at? Where are they at?
They're on my phone, but if I bring them up, I can't talk to you.
Okay, well, I've got them here. Just stay with me here. Here we go. In the South Pittsburg, they're probably going to win a state championship, and they're that good. This is the best. I even was the voice of South Pittsburg for a while, and this is the best South Pittsburg team I've ever seen.
Yeah, I would imagine so. Just listening to what they've done so far, they're just so dominant, so athletic. It's just one of those that once in a lifetime come along type football team.
Great quarterback, big people. It's just a good program. Getting into the Chattanooga area, I want a game that always holds interest in that private school, big school division. Baylor beats Brentwood Academy 31-24, and maybe closer than some people thought. Of course, you got Baylor McCallie this week, Phil, and both teams just point to that all year.
Yeah, it's going to be a dandy one. It's always great every year. It's one of those you wish you could go see, but you never do find time to go see.
Yeah.
But it's an outstanding matchup, and probably in Chattanooga, there's really no bigger rivalry. I don't think.
Biggest rivalry in East Tennessee, I think.
Because this is the to-do community going at each other, so it's something special.
I put it this way. This is how big it is. I got a local line through some, associates. The line is McCallie -6. So,
oh, really?
Yes. So McCallie -6 is the line in that. Bledsoe County big over Tellico, who continues to struggle. Boys Buchanan big over Chattanooga Christian. Bradley Central goes down to Georgia and takes care of business, beating Heritage, who I think led at halftime 35-16. I think that was a 14-14 halftime score, Phil.
Yeah, it seems like Bradley Central, I think they get everybody's best in the first half, and then I think they kind of take over the second half. I think, we've kind of seen that all year. That in the first half, they get everybody's best, but they're just so good that, eventually their will takes over.
I feel over here from Hickson Community Stadium, it's 14-0. Chattanooga Prep leads in the middle school game. But I think you're right on that. I think you're 100% right. One that shocked me now, as the voice of Sequatchie County, Marion County has a 45-0 win over Sequatchie. Everything went right for them, Phil. And then they go to Brainerd and lose a football game, 30-12 to a team that you don't think has a chance to beat Marion County.
Yeah, you wouldn't think so, but you got to understand, though, that Brainerd's a very athletic team. They missed the game early, and maybe they're starting to hit their stride. And, maybe things went too well for Marion County against Sequatchie County, and sometimes maybe you let your guard down a little bit because there's going to be a night when you're just not there. And I think that's what happens to Sequatchie County against Marion County. Their schedule is so difficult, you can't be there every night.
That's right. And still traveling to normal state power Fayetteville tomorrow night. But, of course, Fayetteville's struggling this year, 1-5. We're talking about a team that usually are talking about the state finals.
Yes.
Moving on down, Cleveland 51 over Red Bank. And Phil, you said it best. Hickson might be the best team at Chattanooga, but it might be that the city of Chattanooga isn't as good as we thought it was early with the struggles of Red Bank and Ray County.
Yeah, I think what it comes out to be really is Hickson's the only team you can point to and pat them on the back and say, they're doing as expected or above. Everybody else has kind of fell below expectations. I think Hickson has went above expectations.
I agree with you.
After starting out 0-2, they've done well.
Yes, absolutely. And we'll get to that score in a minute. Just killed Saudi Daisy this weekend. East Hamilton 49, Howard 14. Howard continues to struggle, but we're going to stop here just for a minute. Eastridge, our friend Coach Barger at Eastridge, 35, Chattanooga Prep 14. Now, Phil, Chattanooga Prep struggles at the high school level, but Chattanooga Prep also is building a program. And right now, I'm watching a 7th and 8th grade team that's as good as anybody in the city.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think you're right. Of course, that was a neat win for Eastridge, and they got it. They played well the week before, stayed in that ball game. But, it was high time things go their way because they're a better football team than what they've showed. But you got to also understand their schedule's been very difficult. So now they're getting to play against bodies they're equal to. So I think you're going to see Eastridge kind of turn things around in the second half of the season.
Absolutely. And Howard, again, continues to struggle. But I've been preaching it all year. Howard, folks, stay with Coach D. He'll get it done there. Drop down. And folks, abbreviated version. Phil, we'll be back on a normal Monday night here next week. We had some stuff this week, and we're just trying to get a quick version out, but just assured everybody that was looking for us, we're back on Monday this week. A game you talked about earlier, Hickson 42, Saudi Daisy 14. And Phil, I think this Hickson team has finally now got over the injuries earlier in the year. They lost their quarterback, Finch. They lost their star tailback in Coco Kendricks for a game with a suspension. And now they're just kind of Chase Barnard, that group is just kind of took over and led this team.
Yeah, they finally figured out, hey, we're pretty good here. Of course, their first two opponents were, very tough, outside of region games. But now they're playing in their region, playing against teams they had success against last year. So, and they finally figured it out. Hey, we're not bad. The lights come on, and they beat Soddy Daisy, more than what we thought. But this team is executing very, very well. So I'm not surprised by the scope.
I'm not. Hey, shout out to their center, Jeff Deason, who lost 100 pounds prior to football season, Phil, and looks like a machine now. But that's somebody who wants to play football. He was already starting center, remade his body, and he's played so much better this year. Moving on down to some local scores. Loudon got back in the win column, 49-0 over Sequoia. McCallie over a very good NBA team, 35-0. I know it's just 6, Phil, but I feel like this McCallie team might be the best team in the state, regardless of levels and regions and private. Just on the football field, I feel like McCallie might be the best team.
Yeah, because really, so far they haven't really, been challenged that much. You're probably right. It's just a quality program, and they just continue to just turn it up. It's just, it's a machine there, basically.
McMahon, 57-7 over the Ottawa Owls. Owls, proud program, just struggling. Meggs, 34-6 over Central. Trying to get through this local scores. Sale Creek, 37-6 over Grundy. And Phil, in what I thought was a big game for Sequatchie County after the blowout at Marion, the number 3 team in 1A came in, 5-0 Cofield, and the Indians handled them pretty well. Turned the ball over 4 times in the first half to make it, and still even turn it over 4 times, 14-14 at the half. Come out and dominate the second half, 31-14. That's what a 3A school is supposed to do to a 1A school. But I think after 45-0, they needed to see it on the field.
Yeah, well, definitely. So, and I think that comes out too is where the difficult schedule paid off in this game because Fort Cofield hadn't played the quality opponents Sequatchie County has. So more than likely, that made this Sequatchie County team a better football team because mentally and physically, they were probably tough.
Yeah, absolutely. And just won that second half. Dominated the first 5 minutes of the second half. Signal gets a big win over Lookout Valley. Silverdale, 40-20 over Notre Dame. That's the battle of the Baptists versus the Catholics. You always got to bark that one up, Phil.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely so. But, both teams right now kind of struggling just a little bit. But that was a big win for the Catholics, I guess, this time.
Yeah, you know it. Tyner, the Rams, former state champion, beats a pretty good Sweetwater team. Phil, Sweetwater is struggling. Their coach resigned among some controversy in the middle of the year. And the team is just kind of, they've lost some players, and Tyner goes up there and gets the win, which Tyner needed big time.
Well, Tyner, their first 4 opponents were murderous.
Yes.
And now their last 2 have been winnable ball games, and they took care of business. So that's what I'm saying. Their record's 2-4, but it's a misleading 2-4. They're a much better team than that.
Absolutely. I agree 100%. In a game that if you would have told me to pick the score, I would have never picked it this way. 42-12, Walker Valley all over Ray County. And Ray County, since losing Ethan Davis, who we saw earlier in the year, Phil, just not been the same football team.
No, and probably also, Reggie, they're probably not real deep. It's a growing program and things went real early, like you so much injuries have taken its toll, and probably a lot of the other players are beat up also. And they kind of, I guess, fell back into that mode they had last year.
Yeah.
So this team needs something good to happen.
Phil, what continues to be the big story in the Valley, except for Marion now, who fell this week, the Marion was undefeated, Marion County. Whitwell continues to roll towards that finals to meet up with South Pittsburg in that region. Whitwell 54, Copper Basie 18. And I don't know that Whitwell has the guns, but you got an undefeated single A team in the same region, in the same county. It's going to be a heck of a football game.
Oh, yeah, there'll be a lot of hype involved. But, we were impressed in the spring. We saw that this Whitwell team is going to be competitive, going to be a good.
Yes.
It surprises me that they're 6-0, but we saw a good football team play in the spring game.
Absolutely.
In that preseason jamboree game.
Yes, well coached, too. Hey,
definitely so.
In the third quarter from over here at Hickson, it's still Chattanooga Prep 14. The Hickson Middle School Wildcats, nothing. And let's jump down to Georgia, and then we'll call Howie Chaney in to discuss Alabama a little bit. Let's just jump down and get a couple of scores from Georgia. Adairsville all over LFO, who continues to struggle, 49-13.
That's lately, I don't think they've won one yet. So, it's a struggle for them. But Adairsville's usually pretty competitive year after year.
Phil, a team that we used to see at Fort Payne, and you and I had several jobs down there in radio in the North Alabama. But I remember Fort Payne used to go over to Armucci, who's at the time was a 1A school, which I think they've grown since then, and just struggle and even lose over there. Armucci 53, Southeast Whitfield 10.
Yeah, well, Armucci's pretty good. Gordon Lee, I think, beat him earlier in the year, but Southeast Whitfield has really struggled, and so I'm not really surprised by that. But Armucci's pretty good this year.
Yes, absolutely. Bowden over Dade County, the score just kind of messed with me. Bowden 49, Dade County 15, but Bowden, traditional state power there. They're one of the best North Georgia teams.
Yeah, definitely so. You are right about that. I saw them the first game of the year, and I was very impressed. Have a lot of weapons, especially on the offensive side of the ball. But what surprised me also, they're very good defense.
That surprises me too, because they are usually an offensive juggernaut. But let's get a couple more, and we'll call Mr. Howie in on this. Cola Creek gets a big win over Ridgeland, 35-0. Dalton, 56, Lassiter 20. Phil, that was a game for about 20 years that would decide who was going to win that region. And it seems like Lassiter's fell off, but it was good to see Dalton get that win over Lassiter.
Yeah, Dalton, because they have always been a playoff perennial football team, but that's a big win for them.
Let's see, I got that one. Marion County, 28-21 over Chattanooga. Northwest Whitfield, 21-17 over Darlington. And a team that I think we got to consider for Team of the Week, Ringo, 13 over rival Lafayette, 3. So that's a big win for Ringo.
Yeah, Ringo, Lafayette's got a pretty good team. They have been competitive all year long. They give Trine a good game.
Yes.
So that is a big win for Ringo.
Yeah, and then, of course, Trine, 31, that same team you're talking about, 31-12 over Model. Phil, that was good to see Ringo kind of just get back on their feet a little bit, because, Ringo seems like this year they're up and down.
Yeah, definitely so. And, in North Georgia, a lot of times you don't really know what you're going to get. It's a lot of competitiveness. Of course, right now, who's been impressive so far mainly has been Calhoun. Northwest Whitfield's been very good. And really, one team that's really coming along right now is Gordon Lee. They picked up that 21-20 win over Lafayette. That's a big win for them. And so, it's a young football team, but I think they're starting to grow up.
Absolutely. And you know what? For the folks that's not, we send people different places. If you've not been to Gordon Lee to a game, it's one of the finest facilities in the state of Georgia. I love going to games there, Phil. All Navy, all day. It's just a well-kept campus, well-kept, very nice football facility. It's one of the places I would recommend you go.
Yeah, it is nice. They've got, first rate on everything. I like that color blue they use, that navy blue. It's very sharp. It looks good dressed up. And, of course, their field's nice.
Yes.
It is really nice.
Absolutely. Folks, just stay with us. We're going to lose Phil for a second as we bring Howie in. But I'll keep talking. I'm going to call Chaney in. Let's talk about that Geraldine Sylvania game this week. Of course, Sylvania gets the big win over Geraldine in 2 area powers, and we're going to be bringing Howie Chaney on to talk us through that a little bit. Phil Harris, are you back with me?
I'm back with you.
All right, joining us on the phone from the Coach Tyler Van Show, our brother, I think he's trying to call me. Hold on. Howie, are you there?
This is Phil.
Oh, hey, Phil, are you there?
I'm here. Phil's here.
All right. Howie, are you there? Okay, I'm going to try Howie again. Hold on just a second.
All right. Did you know who you went and took a picture of? Let's say you take off. You must know them.
Folks, trying to bring Howie Chaney on. As I said, we're both remote. Chaney, are you there?
Yes, sir.
All right, don't hang up on us. I got to merge us. Last time I merged us, I disconnected us. But Phil Harris is here, along with Randall Cunningham, Beyond the Booth, your weekly high school football magazine. And tonight, from the Tyler Van Show, joining us, our brother in arms, Howie Chaney. What's up, Chaney?
Hello, guys. How's everything going tonight?
Phil, you there? Chaney, I may have dropped Phil. I'm going to add him back here. But how was the parade? It's homecoming parade.
I tell you what, Randy, I've been to quite a few homecoming parades over my years, but I've never seen one that had so much of a football coach as the themes of the floats and everything.
All right.
As they have with Coach Van.
Hold tight. Here, we're going to bring Phil back in.
All right. Hello?
Hey, I don't know how I lost you, but I'm bringing Howie in.
Okay.
Howie Chaney, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Phil Harris, are you there?
I'm here.
All right. Howie, what was you telling you that? Never seen that much of homecoming parade with a football coach in Tyler Van.
Yeah, from 7th grade up to 12th grade, each class has its own float, and at least 4, maybe even 5 of them had, you either saw a picture of Coach Van or something about Coach Van on every float, it seemed like. And the school has welcomed Coach Van with open arms, and he has accepted the student body as well, and it's just a great fit together, it feels like.
Phil, you made a comment about coaches just fitting into the neighborhood. We talked about that with Coach Pruitt Pisgah, and it seems like Coach Van just played ball at North Sand Mountain, now at Sylvania. He's just found a home.
Yeah, it's Sand Mountain, all the same. He's not but a rock throw away, so he's very familiar with the area. So it's easy to accept him. He's a very likable guy. There ain't no doubt about it. Of course, I'm surprised there wasn't no pictures with Howie. Howie is the mainstay in Sylvania, and I can't believe he got pushed to the back seat with Coach Van in the front. So, but that's good though. I mean, I like Coach Van. I think he's done a great job, and that program is really doing well, and he has a lot to do with that.
Howie, let's let Phil. We'll bring Phil in. Hey, does either one of y'all got the Alabama scores for the last Friday night? Phil will cut off, I think, if he gives them. But maybe we got a few off the top of Phil's head. Go ahead, Phil.
Yeah, well, I did write that down. I said Coosa beat Valley hit 35-0. Of course, 5 beat Sexton 63-0. They're playing mad right now. Of course, it was Pisgah winning over Eider 46-16. Again, Pisgah being off to that big start that they do every week. It seems like it was Geraldine, or actually, I'm sorry, Scottsboro beat Arab 28-14. Cherokee County won over Hansel 55-0. Of course, we talked about South Pittsburg beating North Jackson 62-0. Sylvania, the President win over Geraldine. We'll talk about that. 37-16. Plainview got a big win as they won, convincingly over Greene Co 35-7. Ohatchee bounced back as they knocked off Piedmont 38-21. Collinsville, of course, Collinsville had a rough time against Pisgah, but they took care of business against Sandrock 59-14. North Sound Mountain got another region win. They're now 3-2 on the year as they beat Whitesburg Christian 42-26. Decatur Heritage got past Cedar Bluff 13-7. Appalachian beat Gillsville 39-12. Spring Garden was a winner as they went over Winterboro 15-6. So that's pretty much everybody around this area. Also Gunnersville, they knocked off Boaz 35-14.
That sounds like a busy week. But outside of the Sylvania Geraldine game, was there anything that had serious playoff ramifications, Phil?
No, everything. That's what we had talked about. That the team of the week ended up being Coosa, because really everything kind of sort of went in order. Of course, I was surprised Plainview won by as much as they did, and of course, anytime you beat Piedmont by Ohatchee, winning that game, that's huge. But Piedmont's not quite as good as they have been. Lord, they've been good for so long. They were due for a little bit of a letdown. They're still a good football team. They're just not a great football team.
Hey, in a score over here, Chattanooga Prep 14-8. Hickson gets on the board in the third quarter in the middle school championship, that region championship. It's 14-8 with Hickson getting on the scoreboard. But reason we have Howie here, Phil, and I want to take about 5 minutes, guys, and we'll call it short for this week, but it's good to get through a program. Howie, first off, can you believe we'd had 15 texts wanting to know where Phil Harris was on River City Media this week?
Yeah, absolutely. Phil is taking over the internet by storm.
Phil is an internet. Hey, if you want a good read, Phil Harris' Facebook page is best read I've had in a long time. But wanted to get Phil's comment. Of course, you and I do the Tyler Van Show, Howie. We got several comments from Coach Van, and I know Phil heard some of those. But let's start with, what was the atmosphere like at Sylvania Geraldine? And Phil, I want to get your comments about Sylvania when they are good and they are at home. It's a crazy place.
Yeah, the atmosphere is like it was Friday night. It was a playoff atmosphere, just like it was when Piedmont came in a couple of weeks ago. Standing room only, basically. Around the fence, they were 1 to 2 deep. I hadn't saw that at Sylvania in quite some time. And it was just loud and energetic. And what set the tone for the game was that opening kickoff by Zach Anderson going 98 yards for the touchdown. You could just feel the air being depleted from Geraldine's side because they just weren't expecting that. And it was just a huge game and huge win for Sylvania.
Phil, did you get the same text from Howie? Game started and then it was 7-0. So
yeah, it was like 7:02, and Scottsboro had just kicked off in their game against Arab, and Howie's texted me a message. And I thought, somebody needs something. I look at my phone, it's 7-0, kickoff return for touchdown. I was like, holy smokes! Boy, this one started in a hurry. And, but yes, that was a great way to start a football game. And you're talking about the atmosphere there at Sylvania. I've been there before, covered them before. I tell you one thing, their fans get into it, but if things aren't going well, they'll get in your ear also. They'll be the first ones to be screaming at you to turn the page, Coach.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, they are definitely passionate about their football at Sylvania.
Did you feel like and how I want to get your comments. What did this game feel? Sylvania's played such a schedule that I really thought Geraldine would be able to stretch them out. But it was kind of, Coach Van made the comment that, at halftime, and Howie can comment on that, he really just brought it in and didn't want to give Geraldine chances to get the football. 24-3 at halftime. Sylvania just jumped all over Geraldine. Phil.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. 24-3 at halftime. Sylvania just jumped all over them.
Oh, yeah, they got up to that big lead earlier and, kind of cruised after that. But, it just goes to show you how good this Sylvania team is. I mean, their season, their schedule has been tough. I mean, you hope they don't have a letdown this week because, they have had, every game has been monstrous. They have had no cakewalks whatsoever. But the good thing about what Coach Van has done, he sold them on one game at a time, one play at a time. And, and the good thing about Sylvania, it's a very veteran, a very mature team. And teams like that can handle their ups and downs. They keep on an even keel. They don't have a lot of too highs. They don't have a lot of too lows. And those kind of teams are very dangerous to play against.
Howie, Phil just made a good point. We're not even, of course, we host the Tyler Van show. After a while, Coach Van's just done talking about Geraldine, and he's ready to move on to Pisgah. We kind of know that moment. He just kind of tells us, he'll give us a little lecture about how he can't stay in the moment and move on. But Coach Van is very good at exactly what Phil says, is prioritizing week to week.
Absolutely. I think it really kills Coach Van for us to talk about the previous week.
It does.
He wants to put that behind him and move forward to the next week. And but he is gracious enough to let us talk about the previous week to kind of build up to the next week. And but yeah, he is. I knew he was competitive, but I didn't realize how competitive he was until I started that little bit there at the end of the show to where I do the college pick'em game of the week. And,
no, he does. Phil, he does the Tennessee pick'em each week, and Coach Van gets nothing more fun than picking the other team. But yeah,
oh really?
Yeah, no, Howie Durham does a pick'em with him every week. So go ahead, Howie.
Yeah. Well, Coach Van's exact words Tuesday night was, I want to win this thing. I want to have a better record than everybody else.
Yeah.
So he's real competitive. He don't want to look back. He wants to look forward the whole time. And if you ask him right now what his record is 0-0.
All he
this
cares
is his first game of the season.
All he cares about. Phil, I got something else to follow up, but I want to ask you, Coach Van's starting to build that reputation, a very young coach. And of course, he's in a district. He told us at the beginning of the year, that region, he was 0-9 against Coach Smith, Coach Benefield, Coach Pruitt at Plainview. And he made it clear that district or region's full of veterans. But he's one of those that's starting to make a name as a young coach and a mover and a shaker.
Yeah, me and Jeff Allen and I talk about this all the time. Coach Van and Coach Michael Davis and Geraldine are both class people.
Yes, sir.
And they're the up-and-coming coaches. And, and those, Coach Pruitt and Coach Benefield and Coach Smith, they've been around a long time, and their day has been. But see, now Coach Van and Coach Davis has come along, and they're starting to turn those tables a little bit because those guys are going to be around for a long time.
Absolutely.
And so they're starting to beat them veteran coaches, and and it's their time, so to speak. You just hope Coach Van is happy and stays at Sylvania. I don't want him to get away and go anywhere else. If he does, I hope he stays local because he's one of those you're afraid you're going to lose him because. He's such a great coach and a great person, and it's such an inspiration for the kids.
One of the things I'd never tell him, Howie, is I think if I've got it right, they're 11-0 in their last 11 games. 11-1 with the playoff loss, but it's a pretty impressive run at Sylvania.
Yeah, absolutely. And what he has brought to Sylvania is a mixture of the run and pass, both. Against Geraldine, he had Griffin Turner had 10. He's 10 for 13 for 187 yards passing. And then also you had Aiden Parham that had 33 carries for 210 yards. And that's pretty balanced for a high school game, to be honest.
Hey, Phil, we had Aiden on the air, and he said that Coach Van was his favorite coach, and then next week he got 48 carries.
Yeah, that always helps.
Yeah.
That always helps. You got to butter him up and keep him in the back of your mind, that's for sure. Of course, Aiden performs on the field, so it's easy to hand him that football.
All right, let's jump over to the other side. And another young coach, Phil, I think, was guest of ours on this show, and just uh, the, I think, the most rated episode that we've ever had of Beyond the Booth, the most listened to, the most downloaded, was Coach Luke Pruitt at Pisgah. Really has that community behind him, really is putting this together. Coach Van kind of thought he'd move up to 2, but they stayed 3 in 2A. Phil, what is Pisgah, and what do they bring to the table?
Well, they're a quality team. Of course, they can run the football. They play pretty good defense. They in the past they've been able to run the ball, play pretty good defense. But this team's exceptional in that Mr. Holcomb at quarterback gives them a new dimension, and they're able to jump on people early. And that's what they've done in their first 4 ball games is they jump out quick and get out to the big lead. And that's something that Sylvania's going to have to guard against because they don't want to play from behind against Pisgah. There's no doubt about that because Holcomb will eat you alive. Because if they can throw it when they want to, they're dangerous.
Absolutely.
It's a shame this is really not a region game. It's a non-region game. It still has a playoff atmosphere.
Absolutely.
But you kind of going to back up from this game. Well, we won or we lost. We're going to move on. We got to get back to region play. So it's kind of disappointing if this game doesn't mean more than what it is, other than pride. But that'll be good enough because it's going to be a measuring stick for both teams.
Absolutely. Howie, I want to ask you a question about Coach Van and this Pisgah team. And he said it time after time with the interview we had about Geraldine. Do you think on defense he's going to attack one side of Pisgah and try to make them a little more one-dimensional?
Well, you can try all you want, but like Phil said, with Holcomb at quarterback, they got so many skilled people at running back, wide receivers, the tight end, all that. It's hard to make them one-dimensional because they can do a little bit of everything.
Well, before we go on, I don't want you to pick the game. I think, Phil, we go ahead and give the team of the week this week, which we ain't went down to North Georgia much. I say let's go ahead and give that Ringo team the team of the week. And then we're going to recap, and we'll go through this Pisgah-Sylvania game a little bit and get a couple of points from both of you. So congratulations to the Ringo Tigers, team of the week for us here on Beyond the Booth. Phil, what's a key to this game, Sylvania-Pisgah?
Well, it's 2 quality football teams. Both can throw it. Both can run it. Both can stop the run. It's a matter of matchups. And, of course, it's one of those old cliche type games. Maybe you'll look around. Sylvania's maybe played a little tougher schedule than Pisgah has. But, Pisgah has a lot to offer. It's going to be that old-fashioned who turns the football over and penalties at crucial times. And I know that's just the same old thing you always hear, but it's just always true in a game like this.
So much that I think either one of the coaches would say the same thing. Howie Chaney, what's your spin on this game?
Well, Phil basically took the words right out of my mouth. It's going to come down to whoever has the fewest turnovers. You got Pisgah and Sylvania is just a stone throw away from each other, and a lot of these kids probably even went to school together because with Henniger being a feeder school for both of them, some of these kids probably went to Henniger together and then ended up having split ways. So not only is it just a pride thing, but it's like best friend against best friend on some of this stuff.
Absolutely. Well, guys, Howie, I appreciate you. Maybe you can get on here a little longer with us one day. We did a abbreviated episode. Phil, any final words from you about this week's game, the big game, Sylvania-Pisgah?
I'm just going to be interested to see how it comes out. It's going to be a dandy one. There's no doubt about it. I'm looking forward to it. It's one of those you look forward to every year. You don't get very many marquee matchups like this. So it's going to be a lot of fun. I'd like to be a fan on the fence watching this one, but
yes,
it just don't work out that way. But I'll get to talk about the results, and then I'll jump on the bandwagon of the winner. How's that?
That's perfect. And do you have your black Eric Berry jersey laid out?
No, I ain't got it laid out yet. I ain't got to that. I'm so tied up on Friday nights. I don't think about college football till I finish the scoreboard show on Friday.
All right, but you get that black jersey ready. Howie, Chaney, final words tonight. Give us your thoughts of Sylvania Pisgah.
It's going to boil down to whoever makes the least mental mistakes as far as turnovers and penalties. Sylvania's been kind of penalized quite a bit this year. So if they have a lot of penalties against Pisgah, it's going to be a long night for them.
Yeah.
And then for me, I've got a question for Phil. Phil, you're at the fair. Are you and Miss Chrissy going to get on one of those rides and hold on to each other?
Yeah. I'm going to see if I can get her on Tilt-A-Whirl. See if she'll do that. I don't think she'll go for that. Boys, a big crowd down here tonight, but our air conditioning's kind of messed up, so we decided we'd get out of the house and come down to the fair for a little while.
Well,
on the Ferris wheel. That'll be good for her.
I appreciate.
Yeah, she hates the Ferris wheel.
I appreciate both of y'all. In unusual circumstances, of course, this show every Monday night here on River City Media. Thursday night edition. Phil, Howie, thank you for joining me. And I think I'm going to go out here and watch the fourth quarter of this championship game.
All right, sounds like having me on.
All right, buddy.
Sounds like a winner. You know, and Howie, it ain't going to be long. We're going to be doing some basketball, man.
That's what you told me. I'm looking forward to it. Always great working with the legendary Phil Harris.
The legend. The man, the myth.
I just hope we get to do some because I enjoy doing it. It's a lot of fun doing it with you.
Yes, absolutely.
Absolutely, guys. I enjoyed it. Thanks for having me on. And maybe, this is probably one of the best appearances I've ever had because I wasn't on video this time.
Absolutely. It's the reason. This is the reason it's the highest rated show.
Yeah, see, they don't put me on video. You see that, don't you, Howie? You know why now. Of course, you know that. You see me. Yeah.
I understand.
All right, guys. For Randall Cunningham, Phil Harris, Howie Chaney, this is Beyond the Booth, your weekly high school football magazine for the tri-state area. Join us next Monday night at 7 o'clock, where you'll hear Phil jump on the bandwagon, whoever wins the Pisgah-Sylvania game. And, of course, join Howie 6:30 on Tuesday. We'll have Coach Van himself and Howie on there. And, Howie, thank you for joining us, buddy.
Hey, thanks anytime, guys.
All right. Good night. God bless. And we'll see y'all next Monday.